you seeing this fog?
Yeah, keep the camera rolling. I think I saw a light.
There are places in this world where people are still too afraid to go, because it wasn't just death that happened there. Something dark was left behind. 1932, deep in the mountains of Northern America, there was a small village called Black Hollow. Even though the village once appeared on maps, today nobody lives there. No lights, no sounds, only broken houses, dead trees, and an unnatural silence. But the most terrifying part is this: every single person in that village disappeared overnight. There was no war, no natural disaster, no signs of murder. The people simply vanished from the face of the earth. And the creepiest part, even today people claim they can hear crying voices there after midnight. Many believe it's just an urban legend, but old FBI reports actually mention the name Black Hollow. And inside one report, there was a chilling sentence: "What happened there cannot be explained by human understanding." But the story of that village began much earlier, 1881. A group of settlers moved into the isolated mountain area, hoping to build a new life. At first, the place looked like paradise. Green forests, rivers, peaceful land. People lived happily. Children played outside. Families gathered around fires at night, telling stories. But only a few months later, strange things started happening. The villagers began hearing strange noises coming from the forest late at night. Sometimes it sounded like whispering, sometimes like someone begging for help. But whenever anyone went outside, there was nobody there. At first, they blamed wild animals, but slowly the fear began to grow, because every night the village dogs would start screaming in terror. Then one day, a child disappeared, a 7-year-old boy. The entire village searched the forest, but they never found him. The only thing discovered deep in the woods was an old wooden doll, and tangled around the doll's eyes was human hair. That was the moment the villagers realized something was hiding in those woods, something evil. After that, people kept disappearing every few months. Some vanished from their beds at night. Others walked into the forest and never returned. And the few who did come back were never the same again. One old man once whispered, "I saw its eyes." But when people asked him what he saw, he became hysterical and clawed out his own eyes. Panic spread across Black Hollow. After sunset, nobody dared to leave their homes. Doors stayed locked, windows stayed shut. But the horror had only just begun, because one stormy night in 1903, the church bell suddenly started ringing by itself. Midnight, heavy rain, pitch black darkness. The villagers rushed outside, and what they saw that night became one of the most terrifying stories in local history. Standing in front of the church was a woman in a white dress, long black hair, pale skin, but she had no eyes, only darkness where her eyes should have been. She wasn't looking at anyone, yet everyone felt like she was watching them. Then slowly, she raised her hand and pointed toward the forest. At that exact moment, every light in the village went out. Then the screaming began. People ran in panic. Children cried. Nobody understood what was happening. But when the lights finally returned, 4 people were gone. Only their shoes remained on the ground. After that night, Black Hollow was never the same. People became convinced the forest was cursed and something inside it was not human. But the true nightmare hadn't happened yet, because in October of 1932, the entire village disappeared. So what really happened that night? Why do people still hear crying voices there today? And why did the government hide the truth for decades? October 1932. Winter was slowly approaching, and the people of Black Hollow were living in constant fear. The strange events had become worse than ever. Shadowy figures appeared outside windows at night. Empty houses echoed with laughter. And from deep within the forest came the sound of crying after midnight. But the scariest part was this. Anyone who heard those sounds began acting strangely days later. Some talked to themselves, some painted strange symbols on walls, others screamed, "They're coming!" But nobody knew who they were. The village doctor, Joseph Morgan, kept detailed notes in his journal. One entry read, "I am certain now. The people of this village are not simply going insane. Something is getting inside their minds." Nobody believed him until the night of October 17th, 1932. That evening, the atmosphere became unnatural. The sky turned completely black, but there was no storm, no wind. The entire village fell into a terrifying silence, a silence so deep people could hear their own heartbeat. Around 11 p.m., several villagers noticed a strange blue light coming from the forest. It looked as if the light was rising from beneath the ground. A few brave men grabbed flashlights and went into the woods. They never came back. Exactly 1 hour later, every clock in the village stopped at the same time, 12:17 a.m. Even today, people claim the broken clocks inside the abandoned houses are still frozen at that exact moment. Then the real horror began. Villagers heard footsteps outside their homes, not one pair, dozens, slow, dragging footsteps. But whenever they looked outside, they saw nobody, only thick black fog. One woman later claimed she saw figures standing outside her window. They looked human, but not completely human. Their arms were unnaturally long, and their glowing eyes stared through the darkness. Then suddenly, every dog in the village began screaming at once. The sound was horrifying, like they had seen death itself. Moments later, the entire village went dark. People ran for their lives. Some hid inside the church. Others locked themselves in their homes. But it was already too late, because then they heard voices calling their names, not strangers, familiar voices. One mother heard the voice of her dead daughter. An old man heard his long-dead wife calling to him. And the terrifying part, anyone who answered those voices was never seen again. The next morning, police from a nearby town arrived after losing all contact with Black Hollow during the night. What they found changed them forever. The village was empty. Not a single person remained. Hot meals still sat on tables, doors were left open, clothes were scattered across beds. It looked as though everyone had vanished within seconds. No bodies, no signs of struggle, no footprints leaving the village. Only strange symbols painted on the walls of several houses. A circle filled with countless eyes. They also found Dr. Joseph Morgan's journal. On the final page, written with trembling handwriting, were the words, "They found us. Tonight, they will take everyone. If anyone reads this, never enter the forest." Soon after, the government sealed off Black Hollow completely. The village was removed from maps. Most reports were classified, but despite the warnings, people still sneaked into the area over the years, and many of them never returned. The few survivors who did come back all said the same horrifying thing. The villagers are still there, but they are no longer human. And the creepiest part, even today, if someone enters those woods after midnight, they may hear a voice calling their name from the darkness. So, what was really hiding inside Black Hollow? An evil supernatural force or something far beyond human understanding? The final secret may be even more terrifying. In 1941, a secret government research team entered Black Hollow to investigate the forest. 12 people went in. Soldiers, scientists, and doctors. Each of them wore body cameras. At first, everything seemed normal. But after nightfall, their radios began picking up strange whispers. Then suddenly one man screamed, "It's standing behind the trees." But the cameras showed nothing, only darkness. Soon, members of the team began behaving strangely. Some started hitting their own heads. Some cried uncontrollably. Others kept repeating, "They can see us." Then for a few seconds, one camera captured something, a tall black figure, humanoid, but impossibly thin and unnaturally long, and its eyes pure white. Then the video feed cut out. The next day, rescue teams arrived. Out of the 12 investigators, 11 had vanished. Only one survivor was found sitting beneath a tree. His face was empty, frozen in absolute terror. After hours of questioning, he said only one sentence, "They are not human." Moments later, he slit his own throat. After that incident, the government permanently sealed the entire area. But the stories never stopped. People still report seeing strange lights near Black Hollow at night. Others claim they hear crying voices deep in the forest. Some even say they've seen the missing villagers wandering through the trees, but their faces no longer look human. To this day, Black Hollow remains one of the world's darkest mysteries. Nobody knows what truly happened there. Was the village consumed by something supernatural? Or was there something hidden deep inside those woods? Something humanity was never meant to discover. But one thing is certain. If you ever walk into those woods after midnight, you might hear a voice whispering your name from the darkness. Come back. And if you answer that voice, you may never return again. The end. If you want more terrifying mysteries and dark hidden histories like this, make sure to like the video. Leave a comment about what topic you want next, and subscribe with notifications turned on. Because more horrifying, more mysterious, and darker true stories are coming soon.